Hey historians, thanks for joining us today. Mia and I are exploring this beautiful wildlife refuge. Just look around, isn't it amazing? The animals and nature here are incredible. Oh, Mia, check this out. There's an informational plaque over there. I love learning the history of a place. It says this park was made possible by the efforts of the Civilian Conservation Corps. I think that was one of FDR's New Deal programs. Look, there's more. There's a ton of information on the CCC and the story of one of their workers here. Carl? Why don't we take a break from walking and learn about the CCC, how it impacted American people like Carl, and its legacy today? We already know a few things about this. In our last lesson, we dove into the New Deal, the crisis it aimed to solve, and how people reacted to it. Before we explore Carl's story, let's pause a moment. Can you recall the 3 R's of the New Deal? They're super important for understanding the CCC's mission. Did you say relief, recovery, and reform? If not, that's okay. Take a look back at your previous lesson for a refresher. I think we're ready. Let's start by checking out the photo of Carl. Wow, the picture is moving. And speaking? Maybe Carl can tell us his story while we read up on the CCC. And you can help us make connections to the New Deal.
Welcome. I'm Carl, and back in 1933 I joined the Civilian Conservation Corps. It was during the Great Depression, and jobs are hard to come by. In the CCC, I worked on projects like planting trees and building trails right here in this refuge. We were a diverse group, all working together to restore and protect our nation's environment. It was tough, but rewarding work, and it helped support my family during those difficult times.
The plaque also says the Civilian Conservation Corps was a groundbreaking program started by President Franklin D. Roosevelt as part of the New Deal. The CCC aimed to provide jobs for young men like Carl during the Great Depression. But it wasn't just about employment. It was also about preserving and restoring the nation's environment. Projects included reforestation, building trails, and preventing soil erosion. Apart from wildlife refuge development, like what Carl did, the CCC also worked on building roads, fought forest fires, and even constructed buildings in national parks. Can you imagine how this transformed the American landscape? Take a moment to pause here and reflect on Carl's story and the CCC. Which of the 3 R's of the New Deal do you think the CCC was the most closely related to? I think it most relates to the New Deal's relief aspect, as it aimed to provide immediate employment and financial support for young men during the Great Depression. If you said a different answer, that's okay, as long as you provided your reasoning. Many New Deal programs addressed more than one of the 3 R's. Now that we know what the purpose of the Civilian Conservation Corps was as a New Deal program, let's see what Carl has to say about the importance of the program in his life.
Before joining the CCC, things were tough. I lost my job during the Great Depression, and supporting my family seemed impossible. But now, with the paycheck from the CCC, I can finally provide for them. And you know what? I've discovered this incredible love for wildlife through my work here.
Carl's story was common. Millions of young men found themselves in a similar situation during the Great Depression. The CCC had a large impact on Americans economically, socially, and environmentally. Pause here to try to answer the question, how do you think programs like the CCC were able to help local economies? Well, the CCC would give paychecks to people like Carl, who could then send that money home to support their families. Once his family felt secure with a steady flow of money, they could buy clothes from a local store or bread from a local bakery, rather than making all their goods themselves. This would provide money to local businesses, helping the economy recover. But the impact wasn't just economic. The CCC also had significant social effects. Imagine you're Carl or one of his peers. How do you think working here would change you?
I've learned so much here, not just about conservation, but also practical skills like construction that I could use in the future. And I feel healthier than ever, working outdoors every day.
That makes sense. The plaque says the CCC promoted skill development, physical health, and environmental protection. It was about more than just jobs. It was about building a better future for individuals and the economy. So, thinking about Carl's experience, what do you believe was the most significant impact of the CCC? Was it the economic support, the skills and health benefits for the workers, or the environmental conservation? I think I'm ready to get walking again. Why don't we explore more of this beautiful wildlife refuge and discuss some of the critiques and legacy of the CCC? Walking around this wildlife refuge built by workers like Carl in the 1930s makes me think that there have to be many lasting legacies of New Deal programs. Can you think of any legacies of the CCC that we can still see today? This refuge, parks, roads, and trails built by the CCC, still in existence today, are all direct legacies. It also helped provide relief for families struggling through the Great Depression and helped local economies start to recover. Lastly, it helped inspire a love of environmental conservation in a generation of people back in the 1930s. And these beautiful, protected places continue to inspire people today. Just like many things we learn about in history, the Civilian Conservation Corps, CCC, wasn't perfect. One big issue was that it was segregated. It means that black workers were often kept in separate groups and sometimes given different and limited jobs. This segregation meant that not everyone in the CCC had the same chances or experiences, depending on their race. The CCC was mainly for young men, so women and older people were often excluded from the program, even though they were struggling during the Great Depression too. These programs were reflections of larger societal issues of the time. Some people thought the government shouldn't be responsible for creating jobs like they did in the CCC. Pause here and consider both the critiques and its legacies. What do you think was the most important contribution of the CCC? Despite its flaws, the CCC's story teaches us valuable lessons about overcoming challenges, the power of unity in rebuilding communities, and the enduring importance of caring for our environment. Lessons that continue to resonate and guide us even today. Well, our exploration here at the Wildlife Refuge has been quite the journey. Hearing Carl's story and understanding the work of the CCC truly brought this place to life. It's amazing to see how the past is still very much present around us. In this unit, we've learned a lot about the Great Depression and the New Deal's efforts to make things better. The CCC, like many programs back then, helped a lot, but didn't solve everything. It would take something big to really end the Depression, but we'll get into that soon. Until then, shaping the future begins with understanding the past.
Hey, hey.